Ashley, why are you sitting so close to the camera? Is it because Luna is laying behind you and refuses to move and she looks so comfy that you're not gonna make her move, but like, I'm on this much couch right now. My ass is sliding off. So today we're gonna be going through some of the more notable things that I've been watching over the last month and a half-ish. And we're gonna talk about the movies, the TV shows, anything noteworthy, or some of these are just very forgettable. I just added like the last thing to the list, and I watched it yesterday with my boyfriend. And I cannot tell you how long it took me to remember this. I went through, because I couldn't, first of all, remember the platform, so I went through like Netflix, I went through Plex. I was like, where the fuck did we watch this? And I couldn't remember even what the movie was about. I remember us finishing it and being like, well, that was weird. And then I finally get to Amazon Prime and I have to go through like my watch history and I'm like, oh! So clearly it was a great flick. Okay, now we're ready to discuss flicks. What I watched, an essay by me. The Walking Dead. Okay, so this is one very much like Castle, which I finished like within the last month and a half. I finished Castle, and I didn't know, we're just gonna talk about Castle now. I didn't know that the last season was as tumultuous as it was. If you look up the two leads, Nathan Fillion, and she has a Russian name and I can never remember it, and it makes me mad because she's so gorgeous and she deserves for me to know her name, but I'm not going to look it up because my phone is over there and my coffee is very full, and that's I'm not going to do it. We're on the same vein with The Walking Dead, where I am now getting back into it and trying to finish it and at least catch up to where we're at. I am watching the last season that's available on Netflix, and I gotta say I'm really liking it again. I feel like it went through a mid-series slump where it just got super fucking repetitive, because we all know the pattern, right? It's a group of people, you find a new location, then there's a bad guy, and then there's also walkers, and you gotta fight all these things off, and then you go to a new location, and it got repetitive and annoying. It got annoying. But I find that it's kind of more fresh in season 9, and I think I'm watching season 10 currently. It just feels like it got a new breath of fresh air, and I'm enjoying it. Okay, then I watched The Fifth Wave. This is a novel adaptation. It's actually like a series of books, and it stars Chloe Glace. Why do I even bother speaking? It stars Chloe Grace Moretz, who is in everything now, and it's an alien invasion, I wrote down. I literally gave myself notes because for some of these things I was like, what is that about? I don't even remember. So there's 5 waves, or waves. Again with the why do I even bother speaking thing. There's 5 waves that these aliens are using to eradicate humanity. It tried to be Hunger Games. You know, I don't even know what year it came out. It might have been in the era of the Hunger Games, but I don't think it was. I think it was like 2016 or something. But it should have came out in like 2008, you know? That's the right era for like YA youth novels turned to movie series, and that's probably why this didn't get a second movie. I watched Silence of the Lambs for the first time with Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster. Oh. Okay, anytime I think about this movie, I immediately think about the scene where Jodie Foster is walking away from Anthony Hopkins the first time, and the one inmate does that thing and it gets here, and then she walks back to Anthony Hopkins and he's like, all right, I feel bad for you, like here's a little tidbit of information now. It is good. It's a good movie. I love movies like that. I like serial killer shit. I like anything having to do with Hannibal the Cannibal. I think that Hannibal on Netflix, that series, the first 2 seasons were great, and then it just got a little bit like, ugh, for my taste, but it was good. It's a good movie. I would also say if you enjoy something like Silence of the Lambs, you would really like Zodiac, the movie. Also very good. You would probably also really enjoy Mindhunter. And by Mindhunter, I mean Mind Hunter. I watched Freaky. This stars Catherine Newton, who is in everything. She was in Supernatural. She was in Paranormal Activity 4 or 5, which is also directed, I think, by the same person who directed Freaky. Oh, maybe it was just produced by the same person who did this, because it was like a Blumhouse film. Anyways, I really liked this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed. I haven't thoroughly enjoyed a like horror movie in a really long time. And I think I liked this one so much because it really just leaned into what it was. It's like a Freaky Friday meets Halloween spin-off with like comedy done right. It feels young in a way that wasn't like a group of 50-year-old men in a writing room trying to make it feel young. I think Katherine Newton did a lot with what she was given. I think Vince Vaughn was probably the star because he's like this grown man having to act like this like teenage girl, and it was great. The car scene at the police station, I didn't think they were gonna go there, and I was so excited that they did. I loved it. I enjoy this movie. This is gonna be something that I rewatch frequently, I think. I watched The Notebook with Jess. Okay, let me set the scene for you. We did edibles. Now here's the thing. My friends often tell me that I don't have emotions. I am the mom friend of the group often, and I am the one who holds her shit together. Like in my friend group, I've got my shit together, you know what I mean? And I don't cry very often. I'm kind of like a steady person where my like highs aren't super high, my lows aren't super low. So the point is, my friends don't see me cry like ever, just because I don't really cry very often. But when I tell you that I sobbed so much that I made Jess uncomfortable to the point that she went and stood in the kitchen, it was just the floodgates. I don't know what it is about The Notebook, but I cry every time, and I cry so hard. When you cry so hard that you make your friends uncomfortable, like, that's when you know that a movie gets it. Also, watching that movie high, you just felt the love, and you know what's really gross? Okay, I'm gonna be like really honest with you. I was watching that and I was like, they're so in love, it's so beautiful. And then I was like, I feel that way about my boyfriend. And I've never felt that way before, where it's like, it's Notebook love, you know? Going from a movie that makes me cry to a movie that makes me want to pluck my eyes out, I watched Chernobyl Diaries because I was talking about Jesse McCartney because Cooper had never heard of him for some reason. I guess he wasn't a teenage girl in the aughts. I just needed to show him how sexy he was. And the only movie that we had both not seen, I mean, mostly me, because I've seen most of the things that Jesse McCartney were in, especially Greek, hot, but was Chernobyl Diaries, and I literally bought, is it Star? I bought something on Amazon Prime, some network, so we could watch this movie, and I've never wasted $5.99 so quickly. Holy shit, what a horrible movie. And the problem with this movie is, oh Luna, are you gonna choose to leave now? How exciting. I've discovered the problem with Chernobyl Diaries. Like, this is the actual issue with this movie. So if you don't know what this movie is, maybe I'll start there first. It's about this group of American tourists in wherever Chernobyl is, and they want to go see Chernobyl, and then they get trapped there and they get hunted by these like radioactive people, mutants, I don't know. But the problem with this movie is that the writers had ideas for what would be a cool movie. They didn't have a story. They had ideas that like a movie in Chernobyl would be cool, and that like American tourists experiencing Chernobyl would be cool, and like something living in Chernobyl that attacks these people would be cool. But there wasn't a storyline. It was just a series of events, and there was no cohesion to it. It just seemed like they picked, and I've used this analogy before, but there were like a bunch of options for how the movie could go in a hat, and they just picked it out when they were writing, and they're like, yeah, I guess this guy gets killed in a van, sure. And then, yeah, this one, he gets shot later. He doesn't matter. And then this one, character development, fuck no. So it was poor. It was not a good movie. It is, however, a good movie to watch if you want to watch a bad horror movie to make fun of. Great for that. Oh my god, okay, this coincides with incredible news. I watched Into the Woods, which features Elliot Page. Congratulations for coming out. If you haven't heard, this is, I'm not gonna dead name him, but previously, like the star of Juno, right, came out as trans. Elliot Page, so exciting, also in the Umbrella Academy, and it's so great. I've always loved his work. I've always loved him as an actor. And he stars in this with Evan Rachel Wood. And this is basically a movie featuring, I was really in an apocalyptic zombie kind of vibe this month. And it's an apocalyptic like power outage. So there's no more power, there's like no like it's just all what would happen if there was no power. And as it turns out, what happens is you just live in a house until the rain breaks through the roof and you have a baby from very unfortunate and hard to watch circumstances. And it's a good movie, but it's not a like super action-packed movie. It's like a slow burn that doesn't really end up going anywhere cool. Like, this is a concept that I was really excited. They're in this house in the woods, and then there's a power outage, and they have to, like, survive, and, like, they learn survival things. They learn how to, like, have their own food and produce it and store it, and who just has books about shit like that lying around? I don't know. I don't. But I know, you don't either. But they learn how to do it, and they learn how to survive, and that's just kind of the whole thing. Like, there was one moment where, like, a character might go off and try to, like, find another society or, like, another town or, like, people, perhaps. And that just kind of didn't really go anywhere. And, like, I don't know. It was a movie that I'm glad that I watched once. I probably won't watch it again. But, again, very excited for Elliot Page. I watched Fat Man with Mel Gibson playing Santa Claus, which is kind of ironic, but also, it was about a kid wanting to kill Santa because he got coal for Christmas, and the trailer looks really funny, but the movie was just kind of like, it was just kind of a downer, to be honest with you. I mean, it was just kind of like, it wasn't, like, overly funny, except for the last scene where he, like, drinks a glass of milk filled with fentanyl, and then he's like, ugh, much better. Anyways, that was good. And there were moments throughout the movie that was good, and if you want sort of a more, like, realistic, like, what Santa would probably be for real sort of movie, this is good. If you like sort of, like, bad Santa kind of vibes, this is good. But it didn't go far enough for me. I watched The Cleansing Hour with Steph. This is a movie that I actually kind of enjoyed a lot, and it's very B-movie. Like, it's all takes place basically in one set with a couple of, like, tiny little on-scene sort of shots, but it takes place in one set. It's basically these two friends pretend to be doing these exorcisms on live streams, and then they have to do an actual exorcism because instead of acting, there's an actual demon that takes over a woman's body, and they're streaming it to millions of people, and they have to figure out, you know, how to get out alive. And it is good. Some of the kills are really exciting and really fun to watch. They do a lot of practical effects, but also a lot of, like, after edited effects. It's not like a Lighthouse or like a Conjuring where it's very big and grand or like super cinematic, but it's definitely a good horror movie to watch if you just want something new, if you want something that's easy to throw on, something that you're not going to sit there and get like overly upset about because they make so many stupid choices. Like, I found that while there were quite a few dumb choices, it wasn't to the point where I was like, oh my god, I hope you all die. Like, it was good. It was a good enough movie. The ending was fucking weird, but I was also kind of into it. So this month has been okay for movies. It's been a lot more like, I mean, it was fine than like previous months where it's been a lot of like, trash, don't watch it, don't even look at it, don't even think about it. And then this is the movie that I literally spent 5 years trying to remember the name of, like 5 minutes before I started filming this video, and that is Mayhem. So this movie features Steven Yeun and Yoon. Is it Yoon? He was from The Walking Dead as well. He played Glenn. And Samara Weaving, and it is a Shudder exclusive, and this is, again, kind of like a zombie apocalypse infection. Again with the speaking. And it's like a disease takes over people, you get infected for an amount of time, and your id, which is the part of your like personality that just, it basically drives your wants, and then you have like your ego and your super ego, which kind of balance everything out from like, you know, we want to have sex right now in public, but we can't because there are rules and guidelines, right, of a society. So your id takes over, so all of your wants are at the forefront. So you're pissed at somebody, you're gonna punch them in the face. You are super horny, you're gonna fuck on the table in front of a bunch of people. Like, it doesn't matter, right? So it follows the story of this big conglomeration, this big corporation, and they all got infected, and this one guy was wronged in the company, and this other girl was wronged by the company, and they work their way through people, and it's a fun movie. but it is clearly very forgettable. It was one of those movies where it wasn't like nothing was happening. It was just like nothing super exciting or memorable was happening. I'm also filming this on a day that, actually the first day that The Bachelor twofers are gonna come out. So The Bachelorette is having 2 episodes, like today, tomorrow, and then next week it's like Monday, Tuesday, and I'm so excited. This season has felt like it's been 1,000 years long. I think that both Claire and Tayshia have been so fucking wronged in doing this season, because if you look at the production value of their season in the La Quinta, and then you look at even the previews for Matt James's season, you can tell that so much more effort went into his season. And if I were Claire or Tayshia, I would feel wronged as fuck. I mean, Claire found her man, fair enough, but like, goddamn bitch, I don't want to have the same date when I'm supposed to be traveling the world, going to Italy and France and Portugal and getting engaged in fucking Thailand. I don't want to be sitting at the same little waterfall at La Quinta in 140 degrees. Like, fuck that. So I'm just saying, if it doesn't work out for Tayshia, she should get another season. Although I will say, I don't love her reaction to a lot of things. Like, I like Tayshia, don't get me wrong. I think she's a great bachelorette. She is beautiful. She is well-spoken. She is clearly very intelligent. But I don't know, something about, I feel like she takes herself a little too seriously some of the time. Those are my thoughts on all the things that I've been watching lately. I enjoy doing these videos as kind of a recap, and also just to like have them out there. If I'm ever like, I want to watch a movie I've already watched, I can just go look at these videos and be like, oh, we're not watching that, or that, but we can watch that or that. So let me know your thoughts. What have you been watching lately? Do you have any good zombie movies? The thing that I definitely need to watch this month is the Train to Busan, and then I also want to watch Alive, I think it's called. It's on Netflix. But anyways, I love you very much. I will see you in a couple days with another Vlogmas video. Okay.